Pool is a game that involves using a stick to hit a ball into another ball and into a hole. Also a game I'd be much better at had I learned my shapes in the first grade. But you didn't come here to see me cry at when playing pool, you have to chalk the stick to prevent friction from affecting your shot. And for the next 7 minutes and 14 seconds, I've decided it takes way too long to do this manually. So I'll be showing you how I created this pool stick sharpener from scratch. I started by booting up Fusion 360 and making this super simple part. It attaches the pool chalk to a shaft collar, which I can then put on a motor to spin it super fast. The part was printed and I brought it up to my room to do some sanding, because I forgot that I was garbage at Fusion 360. I also used some of my excellent engineering skills to very gently install the shaft collar. A quick test fit later and all was looking up, until it wasn't. I was using a table saw to cut out some housing pieces when it happened. The piece of plywood I was cutting begun to twist and got caught on the blade. This launched the piece of wood at my stomach and caused a ton of pain when it hit. Luckily, the injury only turned out to be like a violent slap to my stomach. I also forgot to actually record the injury, but as you can see from this freeze frame, it did a number to me. If you take only one lesson from this video, be sure to take the tool safety one. This could have been exponentially worse than it was, and could have ended with me in the hospital or with some serious damage. I also decided that I wasn't going to use the table saw again until I got some proper safety equipment for it. But enough of a real life lesson. Let's get back to making a solution for an imaginary problem. After a break, I went back down to the 4 walls I had just cut out for the housing. I thought a floor panel would also be important, so I measured and cut one out on the bandsaw. Another test fit later proved that some wallwood was in the way of my fantastic flooring. A little more bandsaw action solved that quickly, bringing us back to kinda levelish on top. So you know how doctors mark the leg they are operating on to avoid an awkward conversation later? Well, I did the exact same thing by marking the top of the walls to prevent hole misalignment. Said holes were drilled and I did another test fit, because pass mat isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. In a desperate attempt to not do any math, I accidentally did something kind of smart here. So I basically took the internal dimensions of the wall and made a little paper square, folded it from corner to corner in each direction to get a center point, and held the motor over the center along with some wood to find the exact thickness of wood I'd need. The thickness of this piece needed to be perfect so that the motor would end up in the center of the housing, thus preventing me from losing any of my crappy YouTube engineer street cred. Because God knows I need all the street cred I can get. A scripted scavenger hunt, some unrecorded cutting, and a belt sanding later, and I had the good enoughest piece to continue. Now it's time to attach some stuff to some other stuff, and to do that I needed some small screws. I couldn't find anything small enough in the front of my screw drawer, but when I looked deeper I found this packet that appeared to be fresh. Of course, I couldn't just trust my eyes on this one. Rotten screws kill millions of idiots every year. I decided the violent one-nostril sniff test would do. I cleared off my scale and measured out the amount to make sure I wouldn't overdo it, and gave him a good sniff. And let me tell you, those were fresh screws. Attaching the motor mount with a few fresh screws was easy enough. And you remember that 4 panel I cut like, what, 2 minutes ago? Yeah, it's too long, so I used a little bit of magic to fix that. Now it's time to create the foot pedal that will actually connect the circuit and turn the machine on. Why did you add a foot pedal, you ask? Still intrigued with the concept? Seemed cool, I replied, sounding as attractive as ever. No, but really, I just made it so you wouldn't have to flick the switch on and off each time you wanted to sharpen your pool stick. Continuing with the theme of attaching stuff together, I attached the motor mount and its base to the wall of the machine. I also went and got a switch out and created an awful hole for it. And believe me, I wish I was joking. It was legitimately a terrible attempt at making a hole. Unfortunately, the only way to fix it was to put in more effort than the bare minimum. And I wasn't about to do that for anything. Oh, and here's some electronics. This is kinda boring, so I'll make this quick. All I did was solder a 9-volt battery and 2 AA batteries in series to get 12 volts for the motor. I then wired it all together with a switch, but left 2 wires unconnected for the pedal's functions. Holy shit. What the fuck? Alright, that's a lot of power. Now all that's left is assembly of the full sharpener. I'm sure you're tired of hearing me speak, so I'll give you a quick montage to show you what I did. And here it is, finally done. I'm pretty happy with the overall build. It works and gets a laugh out of people. However, it could definitely use some improvements. The aesthetics are what's most lacking, but I didn't think they were necessary for this prototype. It also makes this violent sound that is caused by the stick being shaken around in the pull chuck itself, which is a problem I did not intend to have. Maybe I'll make a second version in the future if enough people want to see me do it. So for closing thoughts, does it work well? No, but it does work. Was this a waste of time? Most likely. Will you subscribe and like the video? I hope so. Do you still have table saw nightmares? Yes. Well, that does it for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions for things you want me to make, drop them down in the comments. Have a good rest of your day.